So this is the Nerd Cave, and I thought I would make a tour of this, and I apologize in advance if the sunlight outside messes with the camera. I'm trying really hard to keep it out there. I'm not sure exactly where to start, but well, maybe I'll start here on the over here where all the consoles are, because that seems to be the main thing people are interested in. I used to have 3 of these big shelving units with all my consoles hooked up, but it took up a lot of space, and I really needed a desk so that I could do some work, and so this was the sacrifice. So I stuck some extra shelves in here, and I really crammed the consoles in, and as you can see, they don't get a whole lot of space. Up on the very top, I'll show you what I've got here. I've got my Intellivision, and this is the one that I grew up with. I bought this probably at a yard sale, who knows how much, but I bought it with a pile of games, and this is a really nice system. I had a lot of fun with this when I was a kid. Over here I've got the ColecoVision, and this one I didn't have when I was a kid, even though they came out around the same time. My wife bought this for me for Christmas, and I've actually got a steering wheel accessory for it, but I don't have any racing games. Unfortunately, I really don't have very many games for that at all, which is a shame because it's a nice system. Down here I've got Pong Sports 4, and this came out, I think it was the mid-70s, mid to late 70s, and there's 4 controllers that hook up to this, and there's, how many is there, 16 games, 16 different variations of Pong or hockey. And the controllers, I have them back here, if I can get it. They look like this, and they've got a knob on the top so that you can control your paddle, and it's actually very smooth, and it's a very nice control, and there's 4 of these, so you can play up to 4-player Pong. Over here I've got the Sega Genesis unit, and it's not hooked up at the moment. I've actually got this one, and I've got the original, like the first style Genesis, but this one takes up less space, so I've got this hooked up. I've also got the Sega CD, which I don't have hooked up at the moment, and the 32X, which I can't put on top because there's too little space here. Down here I've got the Atari Jaguar, and that's a huge controller, but it actually fits pretty well in your hand. This is actually, there's always some controversy over this, but this is an underrated system in my opinion. There's some really good games for this, although I really don't have any. I've only got 3 games, and 2 of the 3 suck. The only good game I've got is Tempest 2000, which is actually a lot of fun. I'd love to get a hold of either Wolfenstein 3D or Doom or any of those other games, maybe even Alien vs. Predator, which was apparently pretty good for that. The Nintendo GameCube, this, I think my brother bought this for me, and he bought it used at the time. I had bought one when it originally came out, but I think I took it back because I was 20 or 21 when it came out, and this was really geared towards kid kind of games, so I was a little old for it. However, the Dreamcast, on the other hand, I really like this. There was a lot of adult type games for it, a lot of fighting games, and of course there was no lockout, so I mean if you copied a game it was very easy to play on this, and this has really got sort of a cult following. It's a shame though I don't have very many games for it. I've got like Street Fighter 3 and maybe South Park Rally. I mean, I don't have any of the really good ones for it. Down here I've got the Odyssey 2, and this is a weird system. It's huge, by the way, and it's got a big keyboard on it. The joysticks are in the back. They're actually hardwired into the system, which I really hate, because when I pull it out and now I go to push it in and the joystick's stuck back there, I can't push it in all the way. There's also a voice synthesis, I think that's what it's called, a voice module that goes over the very top of it up here, but it's so big that if I were to put it on there right now, it won't fit. It won't fit in the on the shelf. I really don't have very many games for this, but it's really cool. one of the good games for this would be Casey Munchkin, and you can actually program different mazes in that game, which gives you a lot of different variety for it. Over here I've got the Xbox. This is the original Xbox. This one has a translucent chassis on it. I think my wife got this one for me as well. She decided to get the translucent one because it was a little different than what everybody else had. I also got a handful of games for this. This was a lot more preferable, in my opinion, for adult gamers than the GameCube was, simply because it had more, well, less kiddish games, I'll put it that way. Down here, I've got the original PlayStation, and I don't think it really needs any introduction by anybody who's a gamer now, but very nice system. Came out in around 95 or so. Over here, this is kind of cool. I found this at Costco, and it cost about, I think it was 30 bucks, and it's got, I think it's more than 40 games programmed into it from the original Atari 2600. And what's cool about this is that you can see up here where the controllers hook up. This actually will work with the original controllers. They're interchangeable. Even though these ones are a little more advanced, it will work with the older controllers, which is kind of nice. The N64, which I really didn't get into, by the time the N64 and the PlayStation came out, I was really more into PC games at the time. But, I mean, you can still buy N64 games very cheap. In my opinion, right now, if you're going to collect for the N64, now's the time to do it, because a lot of people are getting rid of them. A lot of people are looking for them, and they're really plentiful. So it's not hard to find them. I think even EB Games here in town sells them, although I find they sell them for way too much than they should. Down here I've got the TurboGrafx 16, and this is one of my favorites. I had this particular console, I think I got it when I was 13. My parents bought it for me for Christmas, and I didn't have a Nintendo. I had an Atari 2600 at the time, so I went from an Atari 2600 to this. So that was a big jump, and I think the reason they got me this rather than the Nintendo was because this was only 50 bucks at Radio Shack, and it came with a game, which was kind of cool. I also have, I don't have it hooked up here, but I also have the PC Engine version of this, that somebody reworked a TurboGrafx 16 to play PC Engine games, the Japanese versions, and I have a lot of games for the PC Engine. So what I do is I pull this one out and I plug the other one in its place, and they're very good. Over here I've got the Xbox 360. This console actually came to me broken. It wouldn't turn on at all, and what had happened was somebody had broken one of the USB ports. The little plastic piece, I don't know if I can focus here, the little plastic piece had broken off, and the pins had all smashed inside, so it was creating a short so the system wouldn't turn on. And after I fixed that, then I had to fix the red ring of death error by reapplying some better quality thermal adhesive. Boy, I'm really out of focus here. Okay, sorry about that. I guess that's the combination of the light from the TV and the light from the window doing that. On the left-hand side over here, I've got the Sega Master System, and I don't have a whole lot of experience with this system. I got it on eBay pretty recently because it was a really good deal. It came with a bunch of games, and there was actually a set of 3D glasses, which work really, really well. I don't know why they stopped doing that. I mean, consoles I haven't seen since, they really haven't done anything with 3D, and the 3D effect works pretty well. And unfortunately, I've only got 3 games, and I'm not sure if there were more, but they were pretty fun. On the right-hand side, I've got the PlayStation 2, and that was a really expensive system when I first got it. I think it was $600, but it came with a few games or something when it first came out, and then it broke on me maybe 6 months later. So this one here is actually this is a used PlayStation 2 that I got to replace the old broken one. I was pretty PO'd over having spent $600, and then I think the warranty on it was only like 3 months.